The Boston Major returns, and already it has been quite a wild ride. We did move to the Wang Theatre after a 2-day hiatus, and already we have had our fair share of surprises and close games. They may be 2-2-0s, but they do not tell the whole story, and I do have some storytellers joining me on the panel as well. I'm your host, Alex Machine Richardson, this time joined by Malini.
Storytellers.
Yeah, you're storytellers. Yeah, I think I can imagine you telling a real good story, Malini. Have you ever read a bedtime story to someone?
No, I tell stories though.
You do tell stories?
I have some.
You have?
Some of them have been immortalized on YouTube, so I would rather not share.
Okay. maybe you'll tell us some new stories today. Sure. We'll find out. It is a theatre after all. And you're laughing at me. Screw you, Winter.
I have a story about an Englishman challenging an Asian man to chess.
Yes, yeah. I said if I win, you have to give me $1,000. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
And then if I lose, nothing happens. We shake hands. We shake hands. That's a good bet.
That seems like a good deal.
Sounds like IG Vitality versus VP odds.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hey, look at how that turned out.
Yeah.
I know.
So that was actually kind of a compliment. I'm taking that. I'll take the IG role in that one. Sheev joining us as well, looking radiant. How are you doing today?
Doing great.
Yeah.
I mean, we just watched an amazing series already, and as you already said, the 2-0 doesn't really tell the story, but I think the time for 2-0s is over. Now do we move on to the other side of this leg of the bracket?
So you think things are going to get a bit closer from now on?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So that sounds like a compliment towards Complexity and Warriors, because that is our next series. I should probably go ahead and remind you that is what's coming up now. To recap what you may have missed, it's Virtus Pro and, of course, EG, those storylines. I mean, you were casting that one. Just to quickly jump back into that storyline there, Malini, you got to witness that firsthand. Quite the turbulent journey for Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, I think that I was talking to Fog afterwards. We're like, wow, they probably could have lost that game. And Wings played very, very well. I thought the fight on bottom would have turned things around for them, but then EG just got their shit together.
Yeah, I think that's the perfect way to summarize. I see you nodding, Sheev. That just seems like the best way to summarize.
They actually got their illusions together.
Hey.
And we were sitting in the talent lounge, and Complexity was watching with us as well. And they're like, oh my God, Wings wins this. And then, EG happened. And then, well, the ending wasn't really very, it was a bit of anticlimactic ending, but it was just Luna and illusions and just a well-played draft, really.
Just Luna.
Well-played double damage runes.
Yeah, well, I mean,
too.
I think you might have some inside scoop then if you were hanging out with Complexity.
I wish.
I'll bite your tongue. Oh, there is. Okay, never mind. No inside scoop yet from Complexity. I assume they were probably in the zone, ready for this game. Probably in the zone now because they're about to meet the crowd. The Wang Theatre is about to witness both Warriors Gaming and Complexity as they prepare for their series.
This all-Malaysian squad vanquished both Fnatic and Mineski to secure their ticket to Boston out of the SEA Regionals. Competing in their first event outside of Asia, they are redefining expectations, both at home and abroad. Lethal in the late game, mid laner Nana is a force to be reckoned with, and this fledgling team is well on its way to success. Welcome on stage, Warriors Gaming Unity. The Friedman brothers suffered a major blow at TI6, but have persevered in the face of adversity to make their way here. Resolute Captain Mellons is not one to dwell on the past, and his fiery leadership could be the catalyst his team needs. Boosted by the addition of TI6 runner-up Moon and introducing retro mid-player Cancel, they are here to carve their future. Welcome on stage, Complexity Gaming.
What a scary concept it could be for WG. Certainly not something they've seen too much of. Their first event, it said in that video, their first event outside of Asia, and now they're sitting there with a live crowd and their name being chanted by them. Now, Winter, you've met them, you've played against them, you know these players better than most. Warriors game, your first thing you said in the pre-show, this was a while ago now, I have a relatively good memory, not really, but you did tell me these are players to not be underestimated.
Well done, you actually remember what I said.
Yeah. Occasionally, I do that. But talk me through these names. You told me I can give you a story for each one, so let's start with that far left corner.
Far left corner, Ajit, a pretty new carry player. He plays mid as well, like he plays two roles. He's a Meepo player, he's a Naga player.
Intimidating.
Their captain, Afu, so I think probably their most experienced player. He's played on a couple of different teams, Mineski. He went to Philippines to play for some time.
Kang?
He was around. Kang is, I think he's also one of the oldest players on the team. He played in a lot of like tier 2 Malaysian teams. He was part of my team, but I wasn't in the team back then, but he played for our team for 3 to 4 months. He plays offlane, he plays carry. Now he plays offlane for this team.
And I mean, when it comes to kind of head turners, Shiva, you look towards that result, surely. You look towards the surprise full best of 3 versus Wings, right? I mean, who stood out there?
It was, in that specific series, it was Ajit that was playing Phantom Assassin in both games.
Sure.
In both games, he went 16-something, and he got 16 kills, 16-3 something, 16-7 something.
When you say Phantom Assassin, I remember something about this team. They are not afraid to give draw away to their opponents. They like to pick PA and TA up. Phantom Assassin and Templar Assassins against the draw.
Oh, so they're not afraid to
fight the draw.
Interesting.
Yeah. They had a very fight-heavy games, and at that point, Wings wasn't ready for it. They did lose the first game and the games that they had after that as well. But, you know, they had a good showing against Wings.
So did you say Nana is the man behind Meepo?
No, Ajit plays the mid.
Ajit is, okay. Well, fortunately, Nana is going to be telling us a little bit more about himself. Word on the street is Slacks managed to grab him, and let's see what happened there.
Hey guys, here at the Boston Major with WG Unity's Nana. How you doing, man? I love your name, Nana.
I'm good.
Okay, good to hear. Tell me about your journey up here. What did you have to do to make it to the Boston Major? How did you accomplish this fantastic feat?
就我们之前打过 TI 预选赛，结果就差一步就能来了，就很不甘愿，然后就很努力的打，终于来到这个 Boston 了。
What was the biggest thing you guys had to overcome to make it this far? You're a new team. New teams have to iron out a lot of stuff.
所以说在预选赛就可以说是没输过一场嘛，然后我们也只是拿到第2才进到这个 qualify.
Yeah, sure. And that was scary, right? But you guys did it. Well done. Who won you those games? Was it your seriousness? Did you do it? Who led the team?
当我们输了一场过后，我们其实士气很低落，然后我们的 sponsor 就老板把我们全部 group 在一起，然后就讨论怎么去赢，然后就赢了。
How's the morale of the team now? Are you guys unified, or are you a little nervous coming up against the other teams?
还算团结吧，就有些还有一点紧张。
Okay, cool. I like talking about your teammates. I think that they're funny and good guys. How do you feel about your teammates? Do you like them?
我也觉得他们很逗，就很喜欢。
Tell me about your teammates, each one of them. And give us an introduction, because I want the world to know a little bit more about WG Unity.
他其实是一个 carry， 他打1号位的，就他本身是一个很懒惰的人，但是他很有天分。然后 Kangaroo 他是劣势路，他本身也是很容易紧张，然后会很容易犯一些错误。然后还有 Snova 跟阿福，阿福是一个很努力的人，然后建伟是一个很认真的人。
I want you to talk about yourself. I know it's difficult. I know that it's something you don't want to talk about, but the world needs to know about Nana. They need to know your story. So just tell me about yourself and what this means to you, this tournament.
这次是我第一次打研究嘛，然后我想尽量表现一下自己，想证明一下自己是可以到这个 international。
Huh? I think you do, man. You guys have proven yourselves so far. It's been pretty amazing. So, all right. Well, I hope to see more of your journey, and I'm sure the rest of us are as well. We'll keep that support up. And there we go. Feeling good, man. You feeling good? You ready for this?
很兴奋。
All right. Okay. Well, there you go. That's Nana from Team WG Unity. And we'll be seeing you guys go head-to-head in the rest of the Boston Major. Thank you.
Nana and Co ready to go ahead and show what they can do on the big stage. Winter, some of these players are actually ex-teammates of yours. Did his summaries sound right? Nova, a serious player. Afu, talented but lazy.
Yep,
Ajit, excuse me.
Pretty much, like they were very accurate of when I played with them, and I think that this team is very unified because they have the right blend of players. They have a serious player, they have a lazy player. Just kidding, but they work like a team very well.
It's like our desk. Yeah, we've got some lazy people, got some hard workers. We've got a bit of everything, and of course you've got the looks in the middle.
Oh, thanks.
We're both in the middle.
I think
I was actually talking about Ben.
Oh, what? We're both in the middle. There's 4 people. Whatever.
Okay, fine.
Keep going.
We'll move on. Because Warriors have to have an opponent, and it's none other than Complexity. These boys have been roaring. I think we actually heard them through our headsets getting hyped for that walk-on. There's definitely no absence of noise when it comes to Complexity, Ben.
Dude, they were screaming multiple times, not just once. I heard them through these noise-canceling headphones. It's pretty nice.
Definitely melons, right?
Definitely melons.
I mean, they're very emotional teams. Like when they win, you can see like their energy popping off. And I think getting ready that way, getting hyped that way is good. They had a very friendly vibe about them when they were watching the previous series in the lounge.
Was there any actual analysis going on, Shiv? Were they actually kind of breaking it down?
It was not really. It was more like, Wings won. Wings lost. And then there was talk about swindly melons and about how me and ODPixel, who's going to commentate this match, should call swindly melons.
Oh, you have to go for his full name.
Yes.
Apparently. And there he is on your screen. So despite this whole Zen situation, but.
Yeah.
Aside from that, though, Ben, there is more to this team than may meet the eye, right? I mean, taking 2 series versus EG is not a feat to be laughed at in any way.
Especially considering their past. Their past, they just struggled with them all the time, and it was pretty much just written off as a victory for Evil Geniuses for most of the time. That was, I would say, before this, even more certain than some of the results that we've seen. But yeah, I think their change.
Melon support, that's the biggest change.
Melon support is the biggest change and is the biggest benefit to them. It's huge how much of a difference it makes.
Did you say, does it really feel like it looks like a new team because of the shift?
Yeah, almost all teams have captains as a support.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to think of more than a few.
Yeah, probably almost all the teams.
Almost all the teams. And he was playing mid lane before and then off lane and now finally support. And now I think his team is having amongst the best results that they've seen.
Well,
especially when he plays Leshrac. I mean, everybody can rally behind him, and you can coordinate everything properly from a support position. I think that is a great benefit.
I mean, his Trian was also really good the other day.
Yeah,
positioning and everything he did in the team was superb.
Well, I mean, every member of Complexity is going to be under a great deal of pressure, and there is one person in particular who's going to be under some slightly extra pressure because his parents are in the crowd. Moo from Complexity has got both of them there watching, and they're going to be checking out his interview because that's what's coming up now.
Hello, everyone. I am here with Moo from Team Complexity. Good old Moo. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
All right, good. You and me go way back, man. I remember Archon days, right?
Ooh. ESL New York.
That is correct. Why don't you tell me about life from that Moo to now Moo? Current Moo.
This Moo gets paid.
Is that the big difference? I mean, you've grown a lot, as not only as player, but I believe as a person. What's it like being a champion? It's number 2.
Not a champion.
You're close enough. You're NA's champion.
Close to a champion.
You're close to a champion.
It feels good.
All right, good. There it is.
I feel accomplished because we went into TI with low expectations, to be honest. And then we kind of stormed through group stage. No one expected that. And then somehow just made it far enough.
What's it like being a role model for people?
I don't think I'm a role model. Like the reason NA is salty is like this bad stigma around it. Like everyone kind of like, you read like all these comments about how you're bad and you're mean and stuff. And they only really see you like interact with your stream after you've played these 4 games that someone's fed every game. And like then you just kind of lose your mind.
Yeah.
They don't really see you as a person. They see you as your in-game Dota personality. When you're complexity gaming. You have a different thought when you think of EG and complexity gaming. We watched the broadcasts and everyone thought like we had like a 5% chance to win, which I think is ridiculously low for any team in the tournament to win against another team. I don't know, it feels good that we won, but it feels bad that people think of us so lowly like that. And we're here and like we're not new players. We're all experienced. Like even Cancel has been on a professional team before, like Kaipi. And as many people might not consider that a professional team, it still is.
Sure.
Like I don't know.
No, I mean that's a really interesting and good point. I mean, just because you guys won of an upset, the fact that people thought that it was going to be a giant upset, kind of not feel so good, right? I mean, how do you get rid of that though?
It's just win. you don't think about it and you just win. Like at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what the public thinks of you. It's what you think of yourselves and how you interact with each other and if you can keep a positive mentality.
So what do you feel about complexity? I know you guys are tight, right? You guys are like buddies over there.
Yeah, we like to consider ourselves the frat team.
The frat team.
Yeah.
Okay. I need a definition. Why is it the frat team?
Let's just say if our walls were not as thick as they were, we'd have some noise complaints.
Okay. Just because of how rowdy you get, or what?
Yeah.
So do you hang out a lot when you're not in games? Are you all very friendly with each other? Yeah.
We spend most of our time in our practice room, just hanging out, playing games together, just Dota together. We have some casual beers and stuff like that.
One thing about complexity is you guys seem to have a great support staff. You got guys like Chef Josh, you got guys like Beef. Tell me a little about those guys and the impact that they have on what you guys do.
I think it's really important. They make sure that we don't kill each other when we're mad.
That's good.
Like we do get upset. When we lost the first game of both series to EG, we were pretty upset with each other and ourselves, and they made sure to come in and calm everyone down and made sure like we stay focused and go on to the next game and focus on what we need to learn instead of killing each other. Chef Josh lives with us, he's here with us. Beef lives very close, like 5 minutes away, and comes to almost every event that he can. Just supports us in our everyday life.
Cool. All right, I want to know a kind of a deep question, a little serious one. But what is being here at the Boston Major? What is playing Dota? What is all this to you? Why do you do it? I mean, it's a lot of work. You play all day, you live with a bunch of guys. I mean, why? Why put in all this effort?
It's fun. Like I couldn't imagine my life not doing this. I think I'd be pretty upset with myself. Before I started playing, I was just started college and living an pretty average life. Part-time job, going to college, just did homework, slept, Then I just one day just gave it up in the semester. I was like, I really don't like this. I'm really upset. I'm not happy in my life. And I tried it, went to ESL New York, and I didn't win any games, but going there and experiencing what it's like to be in esports and all this stuff, and then going to a major, even though it was a Shanghai major, it was good.
Still a major.
It was amazing. Like just seeing all the personalities every day. They all are really friendly. They all support the pros. They all know how hard we work. I know how hard all the personalities work. You especially.
Oh, Thank you. Wow. All right. I was going to ask other questions, but I mean, that was just a beautiful end. So maybe we should just end it here, man. You guys are going in against some heavy opposition. However, it seems like you definitely have what it takes to make this tournament your own. What are your plans going forward? How can we continue to see Complexity grow?
It's don't let the victory go to our head. Like we beat EG, and then I'd say we got pretty cocky going in against LGD.
Granted.
Didn't prepare as much, didn't think about our drafts, didn't really think about our play in the beginning. We just kind of went in, played some pretty sloppy games, got frustrated, went in the second game, just lost like instantly. And like then we were like, shit, we need to like go back to what we were doing and be humble with ourselves and work really hard going into the next series. And we did. We woke up.
There you go.
So, do that every game, and we will be good.
Is losing sometimes good for a team?
Losing is definitely good. I'd say it's really important that we lost the first game every series.
But you can't lose anymore. Single elimination, man. I mean, you can lose the first game, but don't be careful, right?
Not a fan of single elimination, but you are correct.
All right, well, we'll see if they have what it takes to keep up this amazing spree that they have, but it's not too unbelievable because Complexity hasn't always been one hell of a team. We'll see some more from you guys and Moo coming up in the Boston Major.
The pursuit of dreams. Moo making a lot of opinions abundantly clear and also reminding us all that they are human. 5 humans playing for $3 million, playing their favorite video game. It is, of course, Dota 2. Complexity almost feeling like it was unjust. Some of the criticism hailed towards them, and there is some of the biggest fans of Complexity, or at least Moo.
And he's no stranger to injustice. He was kind of given the AUI treatment after TI, where AUI won TI and then got kicked shortly thereafter, and this time he was second place and got kicked. I would say maybe unfairly, but we don't know the internal workings.
And they're no stranger to roster shuffles as well. Very relatively recently, waved goodbye to Justin and brought Monkeys in. Does this feel like a big discussion topic to you guys?
It's very difficult to see how it works in the team. I kind of feel like it might have been better for them this way. I feel like they have a better shot maybe. They seem more like one team than they did before. They seem strong, they seem confident. And maybe because they know they are the underdogs, purely because of this change, they know how to improve and how to work towards a goal together. And basically, their loss united them, if you will.
And from what I heard, that Justin kind of brought their team mentality down a little bit, and even Swindles wasn't able to keep it up. So what I heard is get a new personality or get a new team, and it was the latter for Justin.
Yeah.
Replaced. And one of the individuals we're going to be highlighting, we can bring it up, it is, of course, our featured matchup. Before every game, we like to highlight 2 on the same role, and we chose Carry. It is Moo and his counterpart, Ajit.
Yeah, Jit, like I said, they played an amazing PA, but like Winter already said, they are okay letting Dro Ranger through. And Wings is a team that likes to pick Dro Ranger. Jit won against Dro Ranger. Those are the only 2 games they won. And then I don't think that Complexity, they don't really pick Dro Ranger, so I'm curious to see how much of an effect that is. And Moo, it's really interesting because obviously he comes from the off lane and he rotated into this safe lane core, and he is still very active. He's still a bit of a playmaker from this position as well.
Well, he's like your friend Bulldog. He takes up a lot of farm on
He
the
does.
offlane.
Yeah, but
so when he goes to the carrier, sweet, even more farm.
and now he can justify, on the carry, give it all.
Now it's allowed. Yeah. It's more justified, his farming. Well,
It definitely is.
with that said, I do want to start navigating towards where these predictions lie, because I don't know how clear-cut this may be to you guys. Complexity, their victories versus our EG, I assume, have kind of marinated you in as a bit of a North American fan here. Malini, I'm looking at you.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Complexity.
You are?
I like Complexity chances a little bit more. I think they had a tougher road, especially given how poorly Wings have performed. I think the expectations for Wings were maybe a little bit too high going into this major, and any of the games I think that they didn't super impress me. Maybe a couple of fights here and there, but overall, and not really winning any of their series very convincingly.
Now, this could be interesting. Winter. I don't know. I don't want to suggest bias at all, but your region, ex-teammates, you got faith? You have to, don't you? You feel like you have to. Okay, so we're going to get, is that one for Warriors?
Sure.
Are you guys
Sounds like
there's
so
like
much.
zero conviction there.
Yeah, come on, Winter. You don't believe in your brethren?
But CoL did play really well, like to be honest.
Yeah,
Like,
be honest,
they played
yeah.
really well, so they're definitely the favorites here.
Yeah.
But just for faith.
Just for my region's
For
sake.
your region, and because he wants to, be able to say hello to his friends again on Warriors after this one. Shiva, I'm assuming you're going.
I'm going for complexity.
Okay.
It's fairly clear to me, and that also the games that they won, both of the teams lost the first games in the series and learned from that, and obviously came back in the victory. But I think that complexity is more diverse than WG Unity is, so I'm going with complexity for this one as well.
Okay.
Sup, Alex?
So I guess, Winter, I love you. You do. I mean, you're my Iceman, but I really feel like Malini and Shiva have made a good case here, made a strong case.
We also watched a lot more of complexity.
We did
games
see,
too.
in the defense of Warriors,
Yes.
we only really caught the Warriors Wings result. Prior to that, they didn't really manage to do too much when they met again. How was their result versus? I'm trying to find it. DC. I think that was quite a convincing
they
win.
got crushed.
They got
Yeah.
crushed.
Yeah.
So that's what we've seen from them. We've seen some crushings and one surprising win versus Wings, who actually have been eliminated from the tournament now.
I watched WG in the qualifiers, and they were surprisingly good in the qualifiers. I'm watching the majority of their games, and they beat Fnatic, which were top 6 at TI, and no joke, no pushover at all.
I mean, all the qualifiers that have happened so far in terms of the international qualifiers, the Manila qualifiers, WG Unity was always the team to look out for and see if they're going to be doing well if they're actually making it through to the qualifiers. But they never really made it. They never really made it to the end of the playoffs.
They're a bit like at Finland.
Yes, they're very
they tried
comparable.
many times, but this time they made a risky move, I would say. They swapped out one of their long-time players, went into the sub role, and they took in Kang, and worked out much better for them overall.
So is Kang an unknown entity then?
Kang and Exno are both of them. He's not an unknown entity, but it seems somehow the team fits better with him. I think I would say he's a much more skilled offlaner than Wen individually.
So with the draft just moments away, Malini, we have to surely start addressing what's going to be coming from complexity. They have this, it seems to be described by many as a very fast pace. This surprised EG, managed to bring those surprise results the second time around. What are your expectations when you're coming into the draft, complexity versus Warriors? Is there anything that's at the tip of your tongue?
I think the bands need to focus out cancel.
Okay.
He played Marana and OD for the majority of the qualifiers, and even before that, he spams that in pubs. We see it all the time, and he owns on those heroes, just straight up owns almost every single time. So maybe ban one, take the other. That's the approach that EG took. Yet they still lost. Maybe ban both of them.
I think they might, if they give him OD, they will pick something to win the lane, like Sniper, someone that has a very good matchup, because they usually utilize Nana very well in terms of giving him a good matchup. He crushes his lane, and they snowball from there.
Oh, looks like the draft has begun, and that's another SD. We've got a 100% pick of Shadow Demon so far in the playoffs.
This team is also very fond of SD, back when I watched them play a lot in SEA, so no surprise there. CoL are the ones that actually removed the draw.
Taken away from them.
Yeah, and Elder Titan as well, which they did play a bit against Wings, but Wings actually banned it out against them as well.
So a hero that we almost never see, and let alone first phase, Winter Wyvern. I've really only seen her picked up against Drow Ranger, and there's no Drow Ranger in the game. Sometimes
or against Life
Slaughter
Stealer Slaughter.
+1.
A lot of physical, massive physical damage. Or they're trying to do some of their CoL strats.
The Winter Wyvern axe.
Yeah, I don't know.
CoL strats.
Yeah, they're the only ones who does it double jungle. It was pretty good.
Splinter Blast can get rid of illusions real quick, so if you're worried about Shadow Demon illusions, then that's a good one to have, right?
Okay. Brainstorming.
But then again, that hero is extremely weak in the laning phase. He does not offer much to zone the enemy offlaner or roam around. You're picking the hero knowing that you're going to sacrifice your early game, but you're going into the mid game with a very strong support. His spells are very good in the mid game fights, the Curse and the CoL Embrace.
I am rolling my eyes because it's happened again. That same duo. The partnership.
But like Ben mentioned, Wyvern is pretty good against those illusions and the aura from the Luna.
That's what she said.
Sorry. That's what.
Credit where it is due.
But
Sorry,
I like the Marana
Shiva, my
pickup.
bad.
No, it's okay. It was a good point to make because I made it too. Thanks. No, Marana picked up when we talked about it. Cancel plays a mean Marana.
Yep.
And even the games that they lost where Cancel played Marana 4 times, 2 wins, 2 losses. Even the games that they lost, he was actually doing really well before.
This pick is very good
over.
for CoL because they pick the hero on 2 roles. So when you open a draft, you want to have heroes that can fit in multiple positions for your team because Z-Freak plays the hero as well, and he's one of the like good mid heroes to deal with the Shadow Demon illusion spams as well with the Aghanim's. So like all in all, like pretty good pickup here for CoL. And they removed the Tinker, which is also one of the Nana's favorite heroes. Like Tinker, Storm, he likes to play those heroes.
Tinker and Alchemist have both been taken away by Complexity. No more of that Alchemist gameplay.
Yeah, they don't want to play like a drawn out. Like in the game that they beat Wings, they played a very drawn out game, like Tinker plus Luna as well. Like the game went till very late and they had very, very good late game and it became very difficult for Wings to deal with them. But Wings in the end still won the game, but I think they won because they were the better team, but they didn't have the better strategy in the late game.
And there's a Spirit Breaker again.
It's back.
This is like
back.
their offlane hero, right, Ben?
Z-Freak played it as well. Monkeys played it once and Z-Freak played it once. Z-Freak actually has played only different heroes the entire event so far.
Oh, so their
8 games, 8 different
heroes are basically very open. Mirana and SB are played by multiple players on their team.
Well, wasn't everyone very impressed by Z-Freak's Rubik? Was that the one that really turned heads the most?
Yeah. Z-Freak's Rubik,
Z-Freak's
Z-Freak's
everything.
Assassin.
Yeah, he's definitely, I think, in my opinion, their best player on the team. He's really, really good.
Yeah. Would you not say, though, that it is going to be a cancel Marana, considering the OD is already banned and cancel plays
A lot of Marana.
a lot of Marana?
Yeah, and it's still pretty open though. But then again, it's really good to have if you have some off lane SB and you have a mid Mirana, it's easy to set up kills, charge into arrow. A lot of pressure on the mid laner. They might need like a mid laner that's like more difficult to kill, like someone that has maybe escape or very tanky.
Okay.
All right, well, with Luna and Shadow Demon, I guess that's something that Complexity can really prepare for because that is such an obvious combination to go for still. So Complexity has something in mind. I'm curious to see what Warrior Gaming has in mind because how can you prepare for the draft that Complexity has so far?
You win the laning phase really hard. I think that Spirit Breaker is kind of weak as a support, even weak as an offlaner, and the Winter Wyvern's especially weak as a support. So you need to make sure that you don't give free kills to the Spirit Breaker Marana. And then once you do that, you'll buy time for your Luna to get big. Timbersaw, one of the better illusion clearing heroes. It's on the side of Warriors Gaming, solid laner overall.
Just open for them as well. They could put him off lane, they could put him mid, but mostly they play this hero mid on Nana.
Nana's taking Saw?
Yeah, very, very likely, but it's still possible that they do it like off lane with +1, like Timber +1 off lane. Like Warriors Gaming are also a team that prioritize a lot on winning their lanes. They want to have a good time in their laning phase, and CoL right now have a little weak lanes because of the Wyvern pick.
Couldn't they just Darkseer and just kind of win most of their lanes though, and have better team fight? I'd be scared of that, personally.
Yeah, that too, but Timber is like really good because it allows you the flexibility. You can still put him mid or off lane. Whereas if you draft the Darkseer, he pretty much has only one way to go about it. You have to put him on the off lane.
So less predictability by picking Timbersaw.
Yeah, yes, so you have much more options. You know, you have a lot of things that you can change.
You can be responsive.
Yes, whereas for CoL right now, they are pretty much on the being very aggressive page with those 3 picks. They're going to put a lot of pressure.
If we're going to assume that the heroes are Cancel and Monkey's heroes, respectively Marana and Spirit Breaker, what would you like to see from Moo if you're going to have a lane with the Winter Wyvern supporting you? Is there? We've seen him play Weaver a lot as well.
I like Ursa though. Like they're on dire side, they can maybe use that, and Ursa fits the bill of like running around.
They are going color coded,
this
guys.
is like
I'm very happy with this.
Wait, is this a core Lash, Ben?
Swindles has been playing Lash.
But then that's a Wyvern.
Yeah. I think Core.
Core Lash.
I think if he's farmed enough, he can actually deal with the illusions. I think Lushrak's actually an excellent illusion clearer.
And it's very good against Timber Saw, because against Timber, you don't want to build physical. You want a spell hero. So you force the Timber to get maybe an early hood. You get an early hood to deal with it, so you can't really get your Bloodstone earlier and snowball from there.
I'm going to be really upset if Complexity choose someone that's not blue.
Their heroes are...
I need another blue hero, please.
But still, their heroes are really open-ended. They could still lane this multiple ways, play in different roles. And for Warriors, it's pretty much easier to guess what they're trying to do.
Okay.
For your sake, Alex, I think maybe a Sven would be in order.
Yes, that would complete the
set. It would mean that it's not a core Leshrac, but at least it's blue, you know? And you got something to pair off.
That's what I'm here
with,
for, the top tier analysis. Make it blue, please.
Warriors, on the other hand, they might want a green hero, or Spirit. I know they like to play the hero. It's pretty good at dealing with the Winter Wyvern, because in the team fights, when you're focusing one target, you don't want him to save the other target, so you can silence him. But this is also one of the heroes that they like to play a lot. Conquer, just very old school things with SD Luna Conquer. We don't see that a lot anymore nowadays because the combo has been significantly nerfed. The Torrent, you don't deal so much damage now. But still, it's pretty good in team fights with the Luna. You have the Bolt and the Eclipse. You can negate a lot of the damage coming from, say, a core Leshrac. So
this is a lineup that Spirit Breaker doesn't really want to charge into. I feel like you're just going to die.
Spirit Breaker.
Conquer, Timbersaw, Luna.
You run in, there's a Bolt, there's a Walling Death. It's not a fun game for SB if you don't have a BKB.
Does that mean he's more likely to be support?
But then again, look at their hero. So if he's support, then yeah, I guess they can still do it.
But if he's support, he's never going to get a BKB.
No, if he's support, then Lash is going to be like what, carry, like safe lane and then Mirana mid.
Or off lane.
Yeah. It's like a bit weird though. I don't know.
It is fun that we are this far through the draft and still not sure where everything's going.
It is really the thing with CoL's lineup. You really do not know how they're going to lane this and how they're going to put their roles. And once again, CoL banning out all the Nana heroes, the Tinker and Storm, in my opinion, two of his best heroes.
They're still waiting for that the mid hero to come out.
They're expecting the Timber to be offlane Timber. That's why they ban out the Storm. But I still think that the Timber could still go mid depending on matchup. Maybe they were figuring that if we pick Lash and the enemy team might think we are laning Lash mid and Timber doesn't do very well against Lash, so they're expecting the Timber to be an offlane Timber.
We should address this now, Ben. Leshrac is starting to be picked more and more in this draft. It was, I remember just when we were doing the complexity desk, oh, Leshrac, that's rare, it's very unique to complexity. In fact, in the Slacks interview, they said, oh, we pick it because it's similar to a hero from a different game, and we liked it. That was literally their explanation. It has a stun and does damage. That was their summary.
He's good in the lane. I think the hero is really good in the lane, and he provides one thing that most of the position 5 supports do not do.
What's that?
He pushes towers. None of the position 5 supports do that. They are mostly either like Dazzle, they heal you, or they have like AoE ultimate like a Disruptor, but none of them actually push down towers. It allows you to snowball and play faster. In this meta, we always talk about if you play fast, you put the enemy on pressure, it's really good for your team.
And it also, they've also tried the other ones, like I say, Shadow Shaman, which we saw lose. And
that's an Omni Knight, by the way, Ben.
Yep, I saw Omni.
That's a good way to deal with the Winter Wyvern ultimate, because when he curses your teammates, you can pop the GA and you negate all the damage coming from that.
But how are you going to lane it?
It's an offlane Omni Knight, and Timber is going to be mid.
Which is what you suspected at the start, right?
Timber, mid Timber.
And WG Unity banned out the Juggernaut, so they were still expecting a core, and it is a Weaver. Is that in blue enough?
That's blue enough for me. I'm happy. Yeah, they've won me over. Complexity.
Good.
Yeah, that was it. My prediction is justified because they've gone full blue, just like you. Woo. Hey, I'm a poet, and I didn't know.
But I'm also happy. I see the draft now. I'm happy with my predictions, sticking to the Warriors draft.
Hey, you're happy with that one?
Yeah.
Was it the mystery? What was it that sold you?
I just like their overall drafting, the whole package, having the team fight heroes.
Okay, so we expect big team fights from Warriors. It's going to be a bit of a battle there. Complexity are the favorites of the desk. We'll see what the casters have to say about this one because our draft is done. It's our third series of the day. We've already waved goodbye to 2 teams, both Wings and IGV. And now to find out who our third on the chopping block is, it's your casters. It's none other than OD and Gods to guide you through this battle.
Thank you very much, Alex. Indeed, we're getting ready for it here in the theatre. Complexity Gaming going up against Warriors Gaming. I'm Odie Pixel, I'm here with Gods. We're seeing the draft, and Gods actually pointed out Complexity with a sort of bleed blue strat here with their picks. It's all blue. What's going on, Gods?
Well, surely you haven't got the memo. This is the wrong team for the blue strat, but it's definitely a team that is in red-hot form when it comes to Complexity. Their dismantling of EG in the group stages put them on the highs, put them on the radar for a lot of Dota 2 viewers out there, and they are a team to look out for in the main event, and probably pretty happy with the matchup they got. WG Unity, they upset Wings, but ended up not looking dominant in their group. They got beaten pretty badly by DC, so definitely agreeing with the overall panel where Complexity come in as favorites.
I mean, these drafts did very, very interesting things to see. Complexity first picking up that Wyvern as they talked about in this finisher, getting Moo on that position 1 Weaver. In terms of lanes, though, what do you expect we're going to see? Because there's a lot of flexibility from both sides here, isn't there, Gods?
Yeah, I guess the question is, does either team want to go for the aggressive lane? But so far it looks like Kang is going to the offlane on the Omni Knight. and it's going to be the offlane of Monkeys on the Spirit Breaker. So no aggro tri-lanes. The big difference in the two offlaners, Spirit Breaker can get active early. We saw Monkeys play some very weird offlaners like a Bounty Hunter in one of their games. He wants to gank, he wants to roam around. For Warriors Gaming, Omni Knight, he doesn't roam. He sits in the lane, he leeches XP, he comes online much later than the Spirit Breaker does.
Oh, we'll see at the start. I mean, both teams having a few members down towards the bottom rune, but
Complexity actually looking like they might dual lane down bottom. They've got Z-Freak with a Null Talisman. Theoretically, he could look to partner up with the Spirit Breaker and pose a threat to the Luna's laning stage. It would at least tie the Kunkka a bit more to that bottom lane, but we'll see if that's going to be the plan. Z-Freak already heading towards the top lane now.
So this mid lane matchup, Cancel on Mirana up against, of course, Nana's Timbersaw. Do we expect to see a hero kind of run away with this lane, or is it just going to be a case of even trade with the farm?
Pretty even trade. Mirana's right-click damage doesn't really harass or zone a Timber very much. Timber just stacks up the reactive armor, so there's no way to really zone him. We'll see a very even matchup between the two. If anything, maybe even ever so slightly Timber favored, at least initially, with all the reactive armor he can get.
Bottom lane, we can see Monkeys just hiding in the trees as we're trying to sap XP. But this dual lanes at the moment coming up from WG Unity against this 3-1-1 from Complexity.
Yeah, this bottom lane's kind of lost their creep equilibrium. The range creep's already died on the Dire side, which means it's going to push out, so they'll be forced to either do a side pull here, or they're going to be giving Monkeys a lot of XP. It looks like Monkeys should be in for a pretty good time as far as being able to get some XP out of this lane. Already going up Shadow Demon's getting a bit aggressive at this bottom lane.
Oh, got the disruption.
Missed the surround though.
Yeah, simply just trying to force Monkeys away from it. Top lane, meanwhile, though, Complexity moving in with the tri-lane. Kangaroo falling incredibly low. They'll look to chase him out. He's trying to juke it, but he's already used his spells. And Swindly Malones will take first blood, bringing down Kangaroo.
Yeah, he's not on the Leshrac we've been seeing. That's in Z-Freak's hands, but still on point with the Winter Wipe. An immediate TP back. There is a lot of experience waiting for them in this top lane, but that's something Swindles is already looking to deny with that side pull. And that's 3 range creeps. That's a lot of XP. Those range creeps, you don't want to lose those as an offlaner, but damage has been done, and it looks like Kang is going to struggle to get as much XP as he'd like out of this lane. And we can see already Z-Freak just maximizing efficiency, getting the stacks done. We'll be under the watchful eyes of that Radiant Observer Ward, though, so Warriors Gaming are going to know what's going on. Yeah, because of the stack, he gets the rune late, so it will go the way of the Kunkka, but just an illusion rune, not something Kunkka can make too many plays off of. Top lane again, just a lot of harassment onto Kang, trying to minimize the experience that he's able to gain from this offlane. And talking about offlanes, down on the bottom, over to the side of Complexity. Monkeys, again, level 3, not finding a lot of CS. Looks like he's having trouble getting close and personal with this SD Luna lane, and now with the pulls, Warriors Gaming able to secure a little bit of a better momentum to make sure that RJ has the safety to get that farm he needs. Level 3 is a lot for an offlaner this early on, and that's, I think, partly why they want to rotate Lesh down here. They feel they can get kills. Z-Freak not able to quite get in range there for the follow-up stun, and now Warriors Gaming just turning to fend him back off. Z-Freak, we'll see how much he wants to hang around down here. I mean, how much can this Lesh get it done? Can he rotate towards the mid and look towards Nana, or is that just a gank that's not worth using resources for at this stage? Probably lacking the damage to get that kill. Cancel has gone for the double arrow Starstorm, hasn't got any points in the leap, so they have got a bit more damage output, but he's going to be stronger paired with the Spirit Breaker. Shadow Demons and Luna both very squishy in this lane. There is the potential Disruption save, but Disruption could also set the Split Earth, so you've got to be very careful about how you use that spell. Top lane again, though. A bit of a skirmish going on between the two. Arfu and Moo both falling low. Moo's starting to salve up. They can't get anything to tick it off, and it's going to be Complexity taking down one. Now look towards Kang as well, but with the Purification, it will be enough to allow him to walk off. But this top lane, it's kind of all falling apart here for Warriors Gaming, giving away 2 kills already in the first 3.5 minutes to Complexity. Yeah, really nicely played. The coordination between Swindles and Moo is on point so far. They've gotten 2 kills up here, and WG's offlane is just kind of struggling here. Omni Knight has managed to hit level 4, so it's not really hurting their overall strategy too much, but it is giving Complexity a lot more than you were perhaps hoping for, with Moo already off to a good start, 18 CS and helping out in 2 of those kills. Now you see the overall CS, there's 3 green numbers up there, all CSing well, so I think overall WG Unity can't be too upset with this laning stage despite the kills they've given up. Absolutely, that mid lane matchup, 23-4 against the 12-3. That's an absolute win at the moment for Nana. They need to do something about it. They have brought Z-Freak across. He's got an Arcane Rune, so we'll see if he's able to get a couple of stuns out potentially. I think without a third hero, this is just not a viable kill. He's already got the 15 stacks. If he's starting with 0, you can go for it, but A third, potentially fourth hero is needed. Winter Wyvern is coming from the top room with a smoke.
He's got an infused raindrop as well. It's such a hard hero to gank.
Bringing in number 4, it's a Spirit Breaker charge.
They're committing everything for this one. They need to make it work. Complexity Monkeys to lead the way. Overfly Swindles. They'll get the follow-up stun for Zephyr. Looking for the arrow. They do get the connection, and with that, they should find the kill. It's a hard one, but they do get it done. Complexity committing 4, but it's the right call to make as they crush the mid, who was already crushing Cancel, doubling the CS of that Mirana. They needed to shut him down.
Yeah, great call from Captain Swindles there, making the solo smoke rotation, but he already had the 2 heroes coming in from bottom, so completely catches Timbersaw by surprise, and that is a much-needed kill because of that CS discrepancy you were talking about. Does free up that mid lane a bit for Cancel to catch up a little bit. He even goes back in the jungle to get an arrow off, so really nicely played there.
Up on the top lane, at the moment, Alfu just hiding in the trees. Swindles will spawn him out. It looks like Complexity are going to try and make a little bit of a go. The Splinter Blast not going to quite clip onto Alfu as Swindles just continues to whittle down that stack that he's got created by the side pull. And at the moment, as you said, even though the kills are going the way of Complexity, farm-wise, the edge certainly is still there for the side of Warriors Gaming.
Yeah, a lot of Radiant Vision, though, scouts out the aggression of Z-Freak and Monkeys down here. They should know fairly well where they're positioned down here, so WG Uni shouldn't be getting caught by a surprise. Shadow Demon is ready to defensively disrupt as needed.
We'll see if any of these runes are going to be huge in terms of play. There's a haste rune up top. No one's looked to get it yet, but this could be paramount for the side of Complexity to continue to find another kill, which they need to do. Losing the farm game at the moment, they need to find something in return. And mid lane, that's going to be potentially where they have their eyes on again. Monkeys already moving into position.
Be careful about the aggression now. Luna's hit level 6, so there's that potential for a TP in with Eclipse. That's one of the probably big ways for WG Uni to turn around some of these ganks that Complexity seem to be very keen to kind of set the tempo early with the rotations. Seen the Winter Wyvern move Spirit Breaker, is hit level 5, so he's ready to get active.
And again at top, trying to chase down Kang, but as you said, even though he goes down the first few times, because he's still got that XP and he's nearly reaching onto level 6, it's becoming a very hard hero for just the Weaver and the Wyverns to do anything about. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Ajit trying to not mess around, pops the Eclipse, but Monkeys able to charge away, and that's going to be the ultimate on cooldown for a good couple of minutes.
Yeah, that's really big when you can have that ulti come out, and now you've got 2 minutes where you don't have to worry about it. If you go diving for a kill in mid or at top, there's no threat of a Luna TP in with Eclipse. She could theoretically TP in with a Lucent Beam. She's going aggressive bottom, and yeah, no escape for Z-Freak. Easy setup and kill there.
Yeah, they may not have been able to take down Monkeys, but good rotations from WG.
I mean, overall, this early game's been really solid for the 2 WG carries, like the mid and the safe playing farmer. Both of them are top as far as overall net worth goes, and it's only really the supports who are perhaps a bit on the poorer side. WG Uni, despite giving up the kills, did manage to outlane Complexity.
I mean, you can just tell that by looking at the CS of the Omni Knight. He's nearly got the same as Mu. It's 31 at this stage of the game. The farm that he's found on this offlane, considering the fact that he was taken down twice, is pretty remarkable.
Yeah, and now he's level 6, so he's got Purification, Repel, a point in degen. He's saving a skill point in case he needs an ultimate for some kind of situation. This is where WG Uni get very scary if they're grouping up to push towers. Ideally, they group up as 3 or 4 and still try to maintain this farming efficiency that is giving them the advantage over Complexity.
And mid lane, just Nana playing incredibly aggressively, making sure to keep Cancel in his place.
One of the maybe limitations of CoL's draft, they're very magic damage heavy, which is normally good against a Timber, but we could very easily see, I mean, Nana's got the raindrops, could just rush the straight hood, and then he gets very tanky and hard to kill. Mid lane.
Cancel trying to play his way out of this. Has got the Moonlight Shadow. They've dropped down a sentry. And not enough follow-up control to bring down the Mirana, so Cancel will be okay.
Showing respect to the potential for rotation from some of the dire supports there as well. Never know when that charge is coming in. Speaking of charge, Monkeys has that with the Nether Strike. He's hit level 6, so his threat for ganking gets that much scarier.
And one thing we've got to consider as well, when the team fights do begin in a full scale, as you said, this Timbersaw is going to be hard to kill. Just the backup that they've got, the defensive capabilities. You've got an SD there for the saves, an Omni for the saves. You're going to have the Kunka's Rum on you as well. It could be incredibly hard for Complexity to find those quick pickoffs with the magical damage that they've got when the team fights do start.
Yeah, we'll likely have to see someone even rush a defusal earlier than they would like to.
Bottom, no, hang up our Jet. coming for a couple of attacks. Monkeys is going to hold back, look for the ultimate to set up onto Luna. Luna falling low, needs some sort of help. Is she going to get it in time? She's not Archit to fall. Arfu trying to turn around with the X-Mark torrent combo onto Monkeys with the rotation from Nana. They'll take down the Spirit Breaker. Arfu falling low here to Pulse Nova, but he's got the repel. Will start to walk it off the right click from Cancel. One more as he jumps forward, will find another. It's 3 for 1 at the moment here. Complexity coming out on top. Now chucked out by Cancel, but it's not going to connect. Kangaroo Nana forced back, and CoL will take the trade there. 3 for 1. Both teams bringing everyone down to the bottom lane for that fight.
Yeah, and the most important thing is Complexity were there before the aggression even came. Mu was hiding in the trees, ready for the dive. And it's important to have to kind of anticipate your opponent's movements rather than react to them. If you react to that aggression by TPing in with 2 or 3 heroes starting with the Weaver, you're not going to be able to get those kills. But because Mu is already there, throws the swarm immediately as the next TP comes, Complexity got the numbers advantage, and Mu was able to chase down, get the initial kill on Luna, and then even get the Shadow Demon in the backline. So great decision making from him to be ready before the aggression even came.
And a couple of different calls being made here by either side. Warriors Gaming, off the back of losing the fight, still want to make use of the fact that they've got the majority down here and are looking to take a tier 1, but at the same time, Complexity, they're farming up in all lanes, pressuring the mid tier 1 themselves. So we'll see who's able to get a favorable trade. Warriors Gaming will finish off the tower bottom, mid lane. We'll start to TP over to look to defend it. Arfu with the eyes onto Swindles. Isn't able to get the vision for the X-Mark. Tries for a blind torrent. That won't connect. So the X-Marks bringing him back into Kangaroo's arms, and also more coming across, but Cancel just spots the Moonlight Shadow, make sure that Swindles can flap his way back to safety.
Yeah, we'll get Swindles out, but it's a pretty long cooldown to be using. Charge coming in mid now from Monkeys. They want to go, but Kang is a difficult kill. They want to secure this mid tower.
It could be messy. There's a fair few members of WG towards the mid, and indeed Monkeys holds off. It was a nice attempt, you know, as we saw. They used the Moonlight defensively, but CoL say we can maybe try and use this against them and surprise them with an attack.
And now bottom lane Complexity, they see heroes mid, they're immediately pushing again. This is something that Winter mentioned Leshrac has over other supports, his pushing power, and we're seeing it here. That was a full HP tier 1. Zefric just swoops in with a level 3 Edict, and it's gone. That took no time whatsoever. That's a big punish from Complexity. WG getting really put back in their place for 5-manning a bit too much. We saw them 5-man at bottom, now they're over towards the mid lane, and that's kind of how you want to play against this, is make sure you're getting more on the other lanes away from WG Unity, and then at the, if you've got everything in place, then you defend, but if not, you go for that split push play.
Absolutely, and at this stage of the game, you've got the pushing power of a Luna, but on a support hero, so the trades are going to favor your way if you find the opening to do so, and we can see mid already just pushing onto the tier 2. Z-Freak isn't stopping.
Again, he's got the level 4 Edict this time. He's a little bit scared, seeing a few heroes missing on the map, knowing he's very squishy, and will back off, but that was some good damage onto that tier 2 as well as the tier 1 bottom.
Mid lane, Complexity will finish off the tier 1 mid. X-Nova and Arfu coming in for the defense, and already around the back of it, Kangaroo comes in with a purification, bursts down, Monkey's low, Mu will get brought back here by the X-Mark. Sentry was down, but nothing to follow through on it. They will get the disruption, soul catch onto Swindles, and Swindles just melts there to the burst of Warriors Gaming. The rest of Complexity just looking to get themselves back out to safety. Z-Free
again
staying adamant on this bottom lane. Will get the tier 2 down to half health nearly.
Decent damage there. He forced out the reglyph as well, so the tier 1 mid tower reset the glyph, and then he immediately gets it out once more. So now they know if they go for another push or he finds himself in that position to play the split push game, there's no glyph to worry about.
Monkeys. Goes onto Arfu. He does have an ult as well as the backup of Cancel. They'll hit the arrow. Cancel coming in close and personal, and great control and play from the two of them to take down a free kill and allow the pressure to continue on the tier 2 down bottom. Meanwhile though, Warriors Gaming working on the tier 1 mid. Swindle's going to come across to try and use the Splinter Blast to hold them back. We'll see if they get this one done, and we'll also see if Complexity are able to finish off that push down bottom at the same time, as we can see the Warriors Gaming committing the more resources in the mid lane here for this push.
Complexity just seemed to be pushing faster because of the Edict. Like, Luna's one of those heroes who takes items before she becomes a real pushing threat, and we're just seeing just the Dragonlance treads for now. I mean, this is not an underfarmed Luna by any means. It's more the fact Luna takes more time, needs 2-3 big items, needs like a Manta, needs more items on top of this to really threaten buildings. And Edict, you don't need items. Level 4 Edict pushes the same at any stage of the game, so we're seeing Complexity really threaten the WG Unity side of the map, and they've managed to get some nice deep wards into that Radiant jungle to perhaps set up some later kills as well.
So WG regaining the control though. Bottom lane is no longer being pressured upon by Complexity. The rest of the map starting to open back up for the team. But it's complete on Nana, working towards his next item, as we saw over on Cancel. Point boosting, I believe, has got about 2k nearly on top of that. Okay, just 1k at the moment. So still a bit of time before we are going to see the Ags come out.
And the cores for both teams very even on farm. You look at the Weaver, the Luna, they're almost identical. The Timber, the Mirana, it's a small edge going the Timber's way. And Luna has got one Ancient stack there, but hasn't got the Helm of the Dominator, so it's purely relying on supports or heroes to be in the neighborhood to get those stacks going. And that's something which Luna just hasn't had the farm to fall back on because they've been 5-main. They haven't been prioritizing the farming efficiency.
Top lane Swindle's just dropping the Winter's Curse immediately onto the Omni Knight, allowing Z-Freak to finish off the tower.
He's running in.
And they're going to Moonlight get the hell out. There's no
Z-Freak?
detection on WG, and he's going to be able to walk this one off.
Runs forwards through them and out of there. Well, okay. That's what happens when you have those sentry wards, and that's something kind of mentioned earlier. The supports for WG Uni very, very poor because they have to keep purchasing all this detection. The vision game becomes so important, and that's where Complexity have the invis of the Weaver as well as that Moonlight Shadow, which is denting that WG Unity economy.
Z-Freak, of course, working for that Yule Sept as of next. Nana heading across, but again, no catch. They do get the T-Wall by the looks of it. WG over that into the Rage in Ancient's area. Mid lane, Swindles and Cancel. I am Nana. They do have a DD on the Mirana at the moment. Turn around onto Z-Freak though quickly to hold it back. Nana moving in incredibly aggressively with the Chakram. Actually a little low on the mana front, and now CoL looking for the turnaround. Looking for the Nether Strike, but the turret will hold back Monkeys and Z-Freak. Z-Freak falling incredibly low. X-Mark back into the Timber Chain and Nana. That's going to be one down on CoL, and WG Unity, they're not done yet. Moving on to Cancel, they'll take down a second. And not a lot of Complexity can do to hold that one back there. Warriors Gaming just running straight down the middle, and CoL unable to hold them.
Well, we're kind of past that point where Complexity can 5v5 fight. They made a good hold at bottom because they had Weaver in a good position and they caught WG by surprise. But if WG are ready with 5 heroes, you don't want to 5v5 into the Omni Knight. He's got level 4 Purification, the 2 points in Repel is more than enough, and Nana on the front lines, 1200 HP, Reactive Armor, and the Hood.
Swindles, again, a little bit of a questionable curse there. It's not going to get anything achieved with that one as WG just remain in position and hammer down onto the tier 2.
Really hoping to get that Luna to be attacking the Omni in that curse, but every time they see Swindles moving forward, Argent repositions further away.
More money in the bank for WG as they take the tower. They do get the X-Mark into the tower and back onto Earth. They got the control to bring them down. Yes, they do! Just that little mini stun there with the Lucer Beam holding him back so he can't get the time lapse out.
That's
very nicely timed.
That's such a big kill to get as well. They'd already taken the tier 2 tower, which was giving WG Unity a ton of momentum and a bit of a gold advantage. And now with that kill, it's a high value target as well as another follow-up tower. They're going to get this tier 2 top tower uncontested, no trade in sight. Complexity immediately drew lines down this bottom line, basically saying, hey, we're going to push out this bottom lane. We need to start going back to what was working, which was threatening to split push when Z-Freak was doing damage to the tier 2 bottom. When they're farming the enemy jungle where it's much safer to be right now, they need to avoid WG as much as possible. They're going to TP Omni back. He buys a mech and he's been X back in. This is going to be a mech high ground push.
This push is going to be very, very scary for Complexity to try and deal with.
They've even got a pipe.
They've got it already here, WG.
Nana. Well, have they got the damage is the question. They've got level 4 Disruption, Lunar Illusions. If this tower goes down, then the Bouncing Glaives will potentially destroy them. Level 4 Bouncing Glaives, 6 bounces per attack. You've got to defend this tower. You can't let it get to the racks.
You've got to do something, and Monkeys trying with a bit of an opening just to charge onto Nana. That can easily pop by Kang. Nana stays firm here up on the high ground. They look at the X-Mark Torrent combo once more onto move. Holding him back at the top. Arrow flies through. Isn't going to connect from Cancel. He's heading back over, still just 500 short of that Aghanim, something that is desperately needed for defenses like this. But at this stage, with the pipe on, Nana, you've got to ask yourself how much that would actually change things. Nana moves in aggressively. Monkeys caught in the turret. The boat flying through as well. Monkeys is down. 30 seconds out on the sidelines in Complexity. They're going to have to hold this one 4v5. Buyback is available, but they move, getting incredibly close to death. They do get the arrow connection onto Kunkka, but the repels there from Kang. The follow-up physical damage is just not there at the moment from Complexity's lineup. They've lost to tier 3, and Warriors Gaming, I mean, they're not showing any sign of leaving anytime soon. They're going to remain in this position and continue to push onto the racks at just before the 19-minute mark here.
Nana doesn't even have to use his pipe. He's holding it for a fight, but Complexity, they don't want to engage. They've hit an arrow on Luna. Is this go time?
It is a good arrow, but again, the follow-up is so hard to commit. with Kangri just sitting on the back line, throwing out the repels and the purification. Swindles himself getting cut down incredibly short. Nana going in deep, has to put the pipe to keep himself alive. Arjit though comes in with the Eclipse, forces Complexity to back up.
That's the ultis, but they're going to get at least a range Rax and then they're going to back off likely.
Here we go again, Arrow into the charge. Repel again from Kangri, making it so hard for Complexity to commit onto one target. Warriors Gaming now starting to back up. Moo chasing down Arfu, chucked up in the air. Cancel's going to be dropped though, the first casualty on CoL. Z-Freak to fall as well, double kill for Arjit. There'll be a Winter's Curse coming out to Kangri, but the damage during it isn't enough to bring him down. WG move forward for more, take a third. Nana now on a killing spree, and it really feels like Complexity's draft just hasn't got it in it to hold back this push at this early of a stage.
They picked the Winter Wyvern to try and deal with his pushes. It's not the Winter Wyvern that's failing so much, it's the rest of the draft. Something also mentioned was the Spirit Breaker. You can't charge into this team. There's a Torrent, there's a Boat, there's a Timbersaw. I mean, all these heroes basically make the Spirit Breaker an irrelevant hero. Monkeys has played a great game. He contested that offlane so well, but his hero cannot fight into the WG Unity draft, and now it is a 20-minute top Rax claimed as Complexity have their work cut out for them. They just hit this perfect timing where it wasn't like any of this, oh, let's get Roshan and then we go for the push. WG's like, no, we go now. We just took the last tier 2 towers. We've had just been picked off. They felt like they were strong with the mech plus pipe. These items are really good when you first get them in this mid-game stage. You don't want to just drag the game and go late with these kind of pickups. And boy, did WG Unity punish Complexity there.
Absolutely. It just feels like the timings haven't been there for CoL. Going back down to the mid lane start off, the fact that Cancel fell behind and still 20 minutes in, trying to finish off that Aghanim Scepter because of the lack of farm in the early game. And then, of course, Moo still desperately trying to finish off that Diffusal Blade, something that might be able to allow CoL to get these defensives done successfully. They need to somehow take down the target without having to worry about Kangaroo backing him up.
Yeah, that's the biggest reason why that Rax went down without a fight. It kind of looks like, oh, why Complexity is giving up a Rax without fighting? Well, the only way to fight is to jump one here and burst them down, but that's just not possible versus an Omni Knight. That's what Omni Knight gave this draft, that ability to prevent that single target burst damage. Not just the Omni Knight, but the Shadow Demon Disruption to save. They've got this great saving potential and the damage negation coming from the Kunker's Ghost Ship, the run there. So the possibility to burst down one target just isn't there. They still haven't got the Ag Scepter quite yet completed on Cancel, and because of this, until they get this Diffusal, Complexity just going to have to avoid fights, and even with the Diffusal, it's still very tricky playing around all the heals, because it's not just the Repel or the Guardian Angel, it's the fact there's this heal as well as Shadow Demon Disruption to keep people alive.
Another tier 2 into the pocket of WG. Nana now with the Bloodstone. You really cannot afford to lose team fights now against this lineup. If he starts to rack up the Bloodstone charges, he's going to be nigh on unkillable for Complexity, and that tier 3 push coming in. At the same time, it looks like CoL, they're just trying to go for a bit of rat. You've got two heroes up at the top, Z-Freak and Moo, the best pushers they've got on their lineup, trying to do something in return. Monkeys charging forward, trying to slow down this push of WG to allow his teammate to get something done down bottom, but the combos there from Kunker bringing down Monkeys. The racks are exposed, and WG, they continue to push. Z-Freak and Moo, they may finally back up. Indeed, it looks like Z-Freak, he's going to remain there. Moo's already headed back to try and help out with this defense, but they're losing the bottom racks, and at 22.5 minutes in, Complexity losing 2 sets of racks against WG.
Yeah, Nana TP back just in time to make sure, okay, we're not going to lose our racks for this. We'll give you a tier 3 tower for taking your racks, but you will not trade racks with us. WG Unity, make sure they leave the pushing Luna and then get back and defend. That gives them a monumental lead here. 2 lanes of racks at 23 minutes in. Their lineup scales going into the late game. Timber, Luna, these heroes just touch. What? Luna? Excuse you?
I think he's messing about. That's not how you build BKB.
Oh, maybe in Southeast Asia. Maybe in their surface. I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Not here in Boston.
Well, then we have a very, very stacked looking Curry there. Glimmer Cape coming out. BKB Yules for the members of WG Unity.
That's really the scariest part about losing 2 lanes of Rexus early on, is the amount of money you get for it. And CoL,
this is the kind of plays you've got to do.
They knew it was coming.
It's not up to a good start, and immediately WG smoke up themselves. They want to try and get the jump on CoL, and they may just get it here with this wraparound. We'll see if Complexity are ready for this one. Still under the cover of a bit of smoke, some of the members. At Warriors Gaming, they may just say, screw the smoke, we'll just push in your base and look for mega creeps. I mean, mid lane, the creep wave already pushing up to the high ground.
They need a big Winter's Curse on someone like an Omni Knight to burst him down.
They need an absolutely massive Winter's Curse.
Followed up with like a Split Earth or an arrow to chain stun and get the kill. But even if you try chain stun the Omni Knight, then the Shadow Demon could repel and save him. Very difficult to get that kill.
it's going to have to be an incredible hold. And the start off here, it's not too great. Winner's Curse onto RG, it doesn't achieve much at all. And already the combo coming and catching out Z-Freak and Swindles with the GA, allowing Wings Gaming to move in for more. They've not only just found one, they've forced out the buyback immediately from Z-Freak. Moo trying to draw them out to the back, but the Purification Burst brings down the bug, and Moo does not have buyback here. 24 minutes in, Complexity getting absolutely battered at this stage, running back to the base, back to the fountain. 14-7, Z-Freak to die back as well. He's down for a full minute. And this game, it's all over. Yeah. GG, CoL tap out. And Warriors Gaming, 24, an absolute clinical performance from there, from start to finish. Complexity did have a little bit of an up at the beginning. They were finding the ganks, but the farm, Warriors Gaming just out-farming them from the start. They managed to find the timing. As soon as there was that 20-minute push up top where they got the racks, it kind of felt like Warriors Gaming said to each other, hey, we've got this, we can push, and there's nothing that CoL can do to stop it.
Yeah, they itemized for that mid-game where they had the mech, the pipe, everything. They were able to just 5-man down those towers, and the first one was stopped. It was starting to look a little worrying for them because Complexity held that bottom fight with some great play, and that's the whole thing. I don't feel like Complexity played badly by anything. It was purely down to strategy, where WG Unity had this hero composition that Complexity didn't have good answers for. They needed more time, more farm to come online. Perhaps if Cancel did better in that mid lane, we could have seen the Accept come online sooner. That would have made a big difference, but it was the discipline for WG Unity where they didn't sit around and say, okay, we can take Roast and push. They didn't go for Roast the entire game. That to me is the most impressive part about that overall plan, where they just said, we don't need Roche, we're good to go now.
Absolutely, but a very quick game, a very impressive performance from WG Unity, and we'll be able to bring in Alex in the panel here to hear what they have to say about that. So it was it was almost a stomp, really.
Yeah, but that was not what the score or we anticipated, right? That just didn't feel like anyone was expecting to see WG, but in that manner, pick up that win.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people came into this series seeing obviously Complexity the other day, taking down EG 2 times, but as a lot of people have said, maybe Complexity is just EG's kryptonite, and at the end of the day, a team like Warriors Gaming can turn up like this and show them how it's done.
Well, you two are quite a Superman pair anyway. We'll be back to you for our second cast. We have to talk about the first one. It was brief. Hopefully these guys have got a good understanding of what did go down. I think we returned to the closing points. We closed with Winter saying, I like this composition from WG Unity. And, I mean, it certainly worked. Complexity unable to kind of best this 5-man hero roster.
Just the lanes, so they lost all their lanes. In Dota, if you lose 3 lanes out of 3, you're basically screwed,
Yeah.
There's no, even in certain cases, you lose 2 lanes hard enough, the game is like pretty hard after that. So I think for Complexity, the biggest issue was just the lanes this game. They drafted lineup that was really good at killing stuff, getting to a certain power spike with Aghanims or Mirana, but they just lost the lane phase way too hard.
20 minutes in and the top racks falls, Ben. That's not something any of us would have anticipated, surely.
Not at all. And Lutrek is really poor at this sort of situation. If you have Edict and Stun, and you can't run in with Edict, you can't run in with your Spirit Breaker because of the Timber Saw, and then they have a pipe for all their other damage, no one is dying at all.
They had the Omni Knight plus the bolt from Kanka. Like, literally, they had so many defensive spells at their disposal.
It had to be like a perfectly played Winter Wyvern, I think, to salvage this.
It was really difficult though, because even if you get a big curse, as long as Omni's not caught in, that's why you saw Melons, he was like really under pressure to get the curse on the Omni Knight, because if he doesn't get Kang in the curse, he's just going to pop his GA and heal his teammates up, and the ulti will be wasted.
So I mean, when you were looking for counterplay, what Complexity could have done differently versus this composition, you're struggling to find answers.
With this draft, I feel like they drafted themselves a little bit into a corner where the draft was supposed to go and kill and win their lanes and then kill and more and then just go high ground at some point after you've dominated the rest of the game. But with not winning the game, winning the lanes, and not winning the game actually as well, but with not winning the lanes, they never could really fight. So then you all are on the defensive the whole time, and their counter push is just not enough. I mean, there's very little enough to counter push against Shadow Demon and Luna, but then Winter Wyvern is just not really the right one there, or at least not by itself.
The reason why when we see teams pick hero for their offlaner, it's either a good, really solid initiator, or they have like big AoE, like big spell for a team fight. Whereas in this game, Monkeys couldn't do anything with the SB. Like he couldn't really charge in. He couldn't really afford to run in first for his team. That's usually what you do. As SB, you run in first, you create space for a team, and your team follows up. But this game, they literally could not run in at all. Yeah, despite they had 6-2 the early game, they had 6 kills to 2. But
what did you say? What did you say? Winter in that green room?
I was watching that game 6-2, but
Yeah. You're like, 6-2, but Warriors are winning. They just got the first tower,
They're winning
right?
all the lanes, so it doesn't really matter that they gave up 6 kills.
Yeah, and of course, let's not forget, I think that score ended with 7. So it was 6-2 and 16-7. That was where Complexity did fall off the face of the earth. And while we do have it on your screens, it's worth mentioning, Ben, it happened again. Shadow Demon, 100% win rate, picked all 5 games we've seen so far here in the Wang Theatre. And every single time we've seen victory come its way.
He's just been very reliable. He has 11 assists in this game, and I think something that Complexity maybe relied too much on in the group stage is not having any setup for the Leshrac and the Mirana in general.
Okay.
In this game, like Leshrac didn't really have a partner to run around with. They weren't able to kill anything. Like even like a Spirit Breaker charge into Mirana could be messed up by a Fateful Bash. And in the last series that we saw with EG, they had SD Leshrac, just very solid, very stable, very difficult to miss, easy to execute, and I actually don't know how they won so many games with just a straight Leshrac without any setup.
Because their lanes, I think because their lanes didn't go so bad. Like this is the first time when they picked Leshrac and they lost their lanes so badly. Like it makes a huge world of difference when you're winning your lanes and you know the pick suddenly looks like, oh, this pick is actually easy to execute because we won our lanes. But now with the lanes being down the drain, then the hero becomes very weak.
So we also thought their opener was weak. It was what? Winter Wyvern?
Winter Wyvern Mirana?
We haven't seen really at all, unless it's first round Ranger.
Isn't it coming one? I think we've seen it once, if not like as a
something
response
he
to a
was
draw.
expecting to use it well against like the SD Luna, but in the end it didn't work out very well because of the Omni Knight. The Omni Knight just made sure, and the Kanka as well, they had 2 defensive heroes with big AoE spells that save your team, so it makes the Wyvern redundant in the team fights.
Even for Shadow Demon, I don't think it's particularly great. You can still just disrupt the target.
I mean, I'm just
really
explaining why he actually chose. He was he was expecting to give away the SD, and he wanted a hero that can clear the illusions and use the illusions to kill the other heroes. That was probably the plan.
With all this discussion of heroes, it's my pleasure to introduce a hero of mine. Purge is hanging out to go ahead and explain things. I'm just going to try and approach this with flattery, Kevin. Is it working?
It's sort of working. I think we have a decent layout here. I think there's a couple major things, mostly about the Timber Saw.
Okay.
I think that was a lot of it.
Show me what you got.
Well, gladly, I'm ready to start. Stop interrupting me. Jeez, man. Okay. Timber mid. Very strong, hard to kill. This is the first time CoL ended up ganking him. It ended up taking 4 heroes, and even then it wasn't very easy. And I think this is really the big fixture that caused CoL to have a lot of trouble, especially as they got in the mid game. I mean, we also had some tower trading. This looked really good for CoL at this point. They got some more kills than their opponents. They were getting about equal net worth, even though they had less farm, just because of how many kills they had. But Warriors Gaming was very good to actually trade towers and things like that. This transitioned a bit later. This is the big fight mid that kind of sealed the deal in a lot of ways for CoL, just because they put so much effort into trying to kill the Timber Saw, but it was so difficult to do so once he got the hood up, because almost all their heroes have magic damage. Maybe, for example, the Weaver could have gone Deso first instead of Dragonlance. That might have been an option, but they just had so much trouble killing him once he actually got repelled. And then after they win fights like these and take towers, and you have the extra abuse of Kunkka being able to X an ally, bring him back immediately after getting items, and that means there's no downtime between pushes at all as long as your heroes don't die. So once they got ahead and it was hard for them to get killed, it just pretty much closed out the game and it was over.
Thank you very much, Purge. Once again, just helping us get a further understanding of exactly what went right and what went wrong. Complexity, it was a great interview with Mu, and one of the things he did highlight, he said that sometimes he feels like the criticism held towards them isn't justified. However, the criticism now that we are identifying within Complexity is that it was almost not lost in the draft, but they certainly didn't make it easy for themselves in the draft. Is that the general consensus here, Shiva? You're pulling funny faces?
Yeah, because it wasn't that strong of a performance from them.
Sure.
And I do think that all the credit does go to WG Unity because they had a clear and solid plan, but at the same time it feels like maybe, Complexity tried something out, see, hey, let's see what happens if we let Shadow Demon Luna through and let's see if we can counter it. At the same time, also something that Moose said in an interview was that he was happy to lose the first game and then learn from it and come back. So I hope that they learned maybe Shadow Demon Luna a little bit too strong.
Well, I mean, there's definitely a correlation between Shadow Demon and victory at the moment. The other trends we had in the group stage have fallen off, though. Not a single Magi yet. I mean, it's been banned quite heavily. What other trends did we see in the group stage that haven't translated?
No Warlock.
No Warlock. Yeah, that's true. Bat Rider has popped up. I'm trying to think what else has been a common presence.
IO?
That's true. There was a lot of IO.
There were quite a few IO games.
And that's specified per team, I think. I think most of the teams today don't really play it, and we'll see it more. For example, our last match of the day, which is OG MVP, I think we might see it in that one.
That's true. That's true.
Interesting. I mean, this has been a development across not you know how we talked about the development from TI to the summit to here. We've even seen development from day 1 to now what is coming into essentially day 3, albeit after a 2-day hiatus. The players are making their way back onto stage, but we do have just enough time to go ahead and see what the guys over from the community have been saying. This is one of my favorite parts. We get to see a question from the community for our panel. Some are a little more meta-focused than others. It was a really good discussion we had in the previous segment, asking us if the longest patch has been better. This one, what will be our new Cinderella story at this major from Yellow Panda? Well, there's plenty.
Because isn't the Cinderella story only possible for the one that actually wins?
Yes. Well, I mean, the Cinderella story is from rags to riches,
okay,
right?
well, you got at Finham. I think that is
a
team that is noteworthy. You got Complexity as well. I think kind of like looked at as the second NA team, and here proving that they already beat EG, that they can definitely be the #1 as well, which remains to be seen if they can also do that in the rest of this series. And then you got WG Unity, another one. They're actually facing each other, so only one will continue with their Cinderella story. Did I miss out any? LGD as well, not being in the major, then coming into the major
as a 1 seed.
As a 1 seed, that's true too.
A big point, isn't it? From not having an invite extended to them due to issues with execration coming into the major. And now, I mean, they're playing to potentially get to that semi-finals should everything go to plan in a kind of China v China bottom bracket. Anything else to add to that list, Benefit? I mean, basically, in terms of Cinderella stories, the list we have is it could be Warriors. I mean, let's not forget they have just taken a win versus Complexity, who have beaten EG. They've also beaten Wings. I mean, they're taking scalps here. WG could be that Cinderella. They could be getting their dress on now, just trying to find those glass slippers.
Could you be our Cinderella story?
I mean, I would look good in glass slippers. I'm just saying, it would make the booty pop. I'd rock that. I would. And everyone is judging me now. Okay, another social media question. I'm actually just wiping the sweat from my brow as I claim I'm wearing glass slippers. What have we got? How different are the skills needed for Dota 2 compared to CSGO? That's coming from Ari the Ugly. Comparing Valve games. That's a ballsy one.
I mean, that's for you.
That's for you.
How different are the skills needed for Dota 2 compared to CSGO? I mean, there's a lot of crossover in terms of like mechanical ability. You still have to have a very firm understanding of the game. It's
very good communication.
Great communications. You have to be a competitive player. In terms of like, there's a common trend in Dota and CS where if you used to be good at sports, a lot of players have had a professional background or semi-professional in sports and end up playing Dota or CS. So there's some elements. There's a lot of difference though. I mean, decision making, you have to have it in CS. You have to have it in Dota. It's just very different decisions being made. Oh, I'm trying to think of a comparison. I mean, as Dota player, Ben, when you look at CS, what you can make a comparison. Sure.
Well, I know some of the professional Dota players that plays CS. What's one of the highest ranked, like global elite?
Yeah.
I think S4 is global elite, and he's on OG. I also have seen many of the VP players as well as Faceless players just play CS:GO in their spare time, so that's something that they clearly enjoy. But
I imagine a lot of the skills translate.
Yeah,
I would imagine so. I mean, but the difference is perhaps the micro. I mean, you're putting your crosshair on a head as opposed to a crosshair on different heroes. But I mean, from a player's perspective, Winter, you still have to be the mouse precision is almost equal, right?
I can't comment on that because I get motion sickness when I play CS.
Oh yeah, you said. Yeah. That's crazy to me. Just too much moving.
What about when you play like Timbersaw? Do you get motion sickness?
Nah.
What about Storm? No?
Any Dota hero? No.
Any Dota hero gives you
motion?
No,
it's like you have to be the first person.
Yeah, if I'm the first, I think it's more to do with that. First person.
Interesting. Good question though coming in. We're having a lot of diverse questions. I saw actually that you can actually submit them over on Reddit. That's actually the primary source of these. So if you are sitting there,
can I ask a question, Alex?
Oh God.
When are you gonna play